How you doing, guys? I hope you are good. Welcome back to my channel. Kindly subscribe, follow, and I promise to follow back. Alright, I promise to follow back. Alright, this is Bride Polashade. She's very calm and sweet bride, and I so much love her skin. Like every product sits well in her skin. Alright, let's get straight into the look. Alright, I started with a skin prep. I first clean her face. Of course, you have to clean the face very well before you start applying your skin prep. After cleaning her face, I went in with the fix marks. I allowed that to stay for like 20 minutes before removing it, and after that I make sure I use my hand to massage the product into her skin very well. And after that, when it dried up, I went in with my moisturizer. Of course, you allow that to dry before going into your primer. You allow that to dry. Also, you go in with your sweat block. Of course, I apply my sweat block in the T-zone. You get the forehead, on your nose, the bridge of the nose, your jaw, and I also apply my sweat block on other parts of the face except the under eye and my primer. You don't apply your primer under the eye. It's just your moisturizer that goes under the eye. Every other product should be on the T-zone. But for me, when it comes to my primer and my sweat block, so when it comes to the primer and sweat block, I apply that all over the face except for the under eye. So after that, I set it in with my setting spray and make sure everything dries down completely, like very well. And I went in with the foundation shade, as you can see on the screen. And after the foundation shade, I make sure I applied my cream blush. And after that, I applied my concealer. I use Adventure concealer in the shade 04. Yes, in the shade 04 for our under eye on our. So concealer on the under eye on the T-zone, and you blend very well. When it comes to makeup, you have to take your time to blend. Don't rush it. You blend it very well. You can see there's no harsh lines on her face. You blend. So after that, I also went in with my setting spray to set it in, and I used my hand fan to dry that, to make everything dry down. So I went in with my puff to set the under eye with my compact powder. Though I don't use a compact powder, I use my View Beauty palette to set the under eye everywhere I highlighted. So I use the View Beauty palette with my puff to set it before going with my setting powder. Do you get me? So after that, I draw a brows. Oh my god, so sorry, that's my baby. Alright, I draw eyebrows. I took my time to draw eyebrows. You can see after drawing eyebrows, I went in with the same shade of concealer to highlight the brows, and after that I blended it with my blending brush, and I also set the highlighted part of the brow. I set it with the shade of the powder I used to set her face. Do you get me? So after that, I went in with my transition color. So I went in with my transition color from my eyeshadow palette, Art Dowry eyeshadow palette, to do my transition. And I also did eyeshadow. I'm sorry, I did the eyeshadow of camera. I didn't know the camera was not recording, so I did the eyeshadow of camera. I applied the eyeshadow of the color I wish to, and also went in with my pigment. Before I applied my pigment, I used my pigment glue. The pigment glue I use is classic glue for our eyelashes. That's what I use as a pigment glue. You can see it's pop out the pigment. That's what I use. So after that, I make sure I give the face a lifted look. That is, I highlighted the under eye. You get. I make sure I give the face a lifted look. So after that, I went into the lip. The lipstick I first used is classic, a dark color of classic, and after that I went in with a nude color. Firstly, before going with a nude color in the lip, I first applied concealer on the lip, to make the lipstick last long. So I went in with a nude color and I blended I blended. See, blending is key when it comes to makeup. You have to keep blending, to give that smooth finish, that clean finish. So I applied my gloss. This gloss, I don't know the name, but there's some product that their brand are not famous, that, but it does the work for you. So I applied the gloss and I went in straight to use eyelashes for her, because it's a day event, traditional in the morning after a traditional wedding church. So it's a day event, and how it's that kind of, it's always a rush, because I'm still gonna tie a gilly. So we are rounding up. So this is where I'm doing the final touches. Of course, after that, I make sure I clean the lip, to take away any excess thing outside the lip. So I outline the lip, and after that I don't dust off too much the setting powder that I used to set the under eye before starting my eyeshadow. I don't dust it off too much. I just do a little dust off, and and I use my brush, my blending brush, to set in the many dusty powder. I mean the many setting powder into the other eye. You can see the way I'm doing it, and make sure I am setting it in. And also I applied my powder all over the face. You can see the way I am. Make sure I'm blending everything in seamlessly, like the highlighted area plus the way I did highlight, and make sure I'm blending everything in together to avoid any harsh lines. Do you get? So I went in with my highlighter on the cheekbone, on the forehead, on the jaw, on the nose, on the bridge of the nose. That's the pointed part of the nose, and also the bridge of just little. When you see this area, and when it comes to the nose, I prefer to use the tip of my second finger to just apply little highlighter on that pointed part of the nose. And this is so I set in everything that I set in the whole look with my setting powder. My setting spray from Julia and Diamond. My sweat blocks also Julia and Diamond. Don't worry, I will list out all products I use in this video, and you can also use it. Thanks for watching. Bye.